Hi, I'm Jerry. Welcome to Interesting Colors. Um, in this video, I'd like to talk about the watch list, or more specifically, my watch list. You can have any watch list you want, but these are the concepts that most of the time I talk about concepts and things that are happening on the chart, trying to relate them to, so that when you see something on the watch list, you can get to it. So I've made it a goal so that if I find something that's unique and interesting on the chart from a standpoint of a critical concept or something that I should be looking for, I have some way of getting to that piece of information. And the watch list is fundamental to that. In this particular case, I just picked the NASDAQ 100 mainly because I think it has almost all of the options available, so I don't have to go jumping around. But so there's 100 stocks that show up in my watch list. That was the design criteria. I've got to be able to get 100. 100 is a good number, and if you got enough, you don't have to go looking down, 20 spots into the watch list. So I've got over here. I like to use this guy. This is what happened today. So today's watch list, the top guy was DocuSign, Tesla, Netflix, so to speak. But the other things that I like to sort by are the weighted gain factor, and it's pretty darn quick. I wrote this a while back. It basically looks at the last 3 months and then weights. I think there's like 13 data points, and the quickest one I think is like maybe 3 days into that scenario. So it's almost as fast as the weekly gain column, WK percent plus. And if you look at if you compare these for the weighted gain factor, we see there's PDD, Baidu, JD, OK, TA, and if you come over here and you sort by the weekly value, let's see what we can get in here. There's Baidu, PDD, Docu, JDD. They're very close. I just like this guy because it goes out and waits other entries a little bit longer. And it's good it works better for maybe things that didn't happen quite so violently on the day, because it will definitely throw those kind of things right to the top of the list. So this is the weighted gain factor. This one, WK percent plus, is the 5-day gain. So it's basically the weekly gain. This script here, MOS percent plus, is the monthly gain, and it is the two scripts are identical. The only difference is that the aggregation levels for MOS percent plus is done at the week level. They use weekly bars as opposed to daily bars. So for gain computations on the weekly bars, I grab the last 5 days, and for the monthly bars, I grab the last 4 weekly bars, and that's the number that comes up for the gain. But the color coding for WK percent plus and MOS percent plus is exactly the same. This is the market phases, P1 through P5. You can sort all these and basically see what you got, and there's the color codes in there. Here's the year-to-date growth factor for the year, and then the next 4 slots are relative strength for 5-day, 10-day, 21-day, and 63-day. And the last column is the breakout column, and this column is a little bit interesting. It's designed to show breakouts, and I'll come back to that. But it's color coded it has like a couple different color coding schemes, but the primary goal was to be able to show it, have it show multiple breakouts and get extra weighting, if you will, so the color codes would change if there's more than one thing that's happened on the day. So with those thoughts in mind, I'm going to go down the color codes on each of the columns over here. So let's start with the weighted gain factor. The only color that you're going to find on the weighted gain factor is the numbers that shows that gain, and it's just red. The only thing that shows up is red. It means that earnings is coming up within the next 2 weeks. Not sure what these guys are, but it turns out I just found out, even though that information is over here in the symbol column, I almost always never looked over there. I'm always looking over here, so I ended up throwing it into this column so that when I see it, I go, oh, I need to go back and check my chart out and see what it is. So I come over here and I hit this guy. Bam, there it is. So there's the upcoming earnings report that we're looking for. In the case of the weekly plus, there's a couple, if it's hard to remember these, the simplest thing maybe to start with is that the color of the number is significant. So, and I only have two colors in here. I have white and black. That's it. Black numbers generally mean you're in the black. So these are like entries that show potential entry setups. So in the case of Gilead, if I hit this, green means this guy must not be turned. Oh, I got to be on the weekly bars. That's the other thing. So if I see over here, I'm in MOS, I got to be in the weekly bars. And so this is monthly. Let's get to weeklies. And if I get to weeklies, I'm going to see out here this guy. I'm going to see a golden cross. So solid reds, solid green represents either a death cross, where it's going down, or if it's a solid green, you know, it has black letters, and the red had white letters. Somewhere in here is white. Maybe I didn't see it. It's because I'm sitting on it right now. There. White letters with black or red background. That is a death cross right there. And this is a weekly death cross because we're looking at MOS. If we were to look at the same counterpart, if we could find one on a daily chart, it would be, this is a 3-month daily chart. It would be in the weekly column. If you find something that's blue, blues will give you a white dot. And in this case, this is a black letters or black numbers with a blue background. This is positive. So here's a white dot saying, hey, we're trying to go, this is the bottom. This is like an inflection point, and things look like they're trying to rise. If you see it to where it's white, it means that they're on the other side trying to come down. That's a Starbucks. If you see a magenta color over here, like this one, this means that you've had a 1020 hull crossover. So if you can look at this chart right here, the hull ribbon is showing up right in here, and there's the crossover right there. That's what we're talking about right there with that. And those crossovers will hold up very closely with white dots. You're going to see that they're going to be very close, and if you see one they're designed so that they might show up give you a couple hits on the same thing. The gold color is for Caholds. Now I have Caholds on the other side over here for breakouts, but Caholds I have in there they're all bullish. Pretty much anything you get a Cahold on, it's a good day for you. And these are all white. I have some special criteria that says if you get a Cahold and it has black numbers on it, they're going to show up, and there's other conditions that go along with it to make it a super Cahold. It's going to be in a situation where the market forecast posture is going to be extremely bearish or slightly bullish. You're going to have one of the ribbons in here has to be at least one of the ribbons has to be green, and you've got to get a Cahold. And if you get one of those, it's painted with a green dot and a white underbar on the chart. But over here, it's going to be it's going to show up as an amber background with black letters. Again, you can get Caholds on the weekly chart. You can get white dots on the weekly chart, and you can get 10-20 crossovers on the weekly chart. So that pretty much covers all of the details that happen with regard to the weekly percentage gains and monthly percentage gains. The next guy over is the market forecast, and I just like to look at it. If I see something, I want to know kind of where I'm at, and I'm not going to go into that other than I've talked about it in a lot of other videos, but there's the market forecast. You can sort by it, and if you happen to see something up here that you like, through some sort, it's just of convenience to me to look at and go, oh, this is P3, oh, that's P4. I know kind of in my mind, what's happening. The next column over is year to date, and again, it's just something I look at. If I see something that happened and I like it, I just can look at it. If I can see something that's actually moved for the year or has not moved. Obviously, green is positive growth for the year, and red background is we've lost money on that stock. And here's all the relative strength, and we've got all the various colors on those. They're all percentiles that show kind of how things go together. And obviously, the strongest relative strengths are these dark green columns, and the lesser ones are lighter green and gray, and then red. And then the breakouts. Breakouts have, let me see if I can rattle all the symbols off on this thing. There's close below the low of the high day indication. There's Caholds that show up. There's we don't have other. I have two shades of blue here. A while back I was showing or talking about volume, big moves in volume, and I decided, gee, I don't have anything like that shows up, and I found it to be extremely useful from my standpoint. And if it shows up with a dark blue, it means that was exceptional volume for today, and this is twice the volume for today. And I got any more here? Lulu was hot today. Look at this. Wonder what happened today. Whoa, man, that's a lot of volume. Let's look at that for just a microsecond. So the black dots on the chart, the first black dot represents 1.5 times the 30-day moving average. So there's the nominal trading average right there. So that's 1.5. That's 2 times the volume. That's 3 times the volume. That's 4 times the volume. That is a lot of volume for one day. So sometimes you just have to look, and maybe they digested news from yesterday with regard to something that came out of Lulu, and it was not loved, man. Let's look at this. The day before we had a white dot and a down arrow, and today we've got a close below with a major gap to the downside. So like I say, you can see this. You knew something was amiss. Perhaps you saw the 12% sitting over here, but the other thing that happened was the fact that there was a dark blue heavy volume for today. And if you see a lighter shade of blue, it just means that it happened either the 2 previous days, either this day or that day on the chart. So the other color codes that I'm having a hard time finding, might have to jump to a different one. I'm going to jump to S&P and see if I can find those. See if I can find any more. This was not a good day in the markets. We're finding there's a lot of close below of the. I want one more chance to find this, and then I'm going to do this. This is market phases 2 through 5. There's no phase 1s in here, so these should be fairly bullish if we're lucky. And this was not a good day for stocks in general. I can just tell. I'm just looking at the breakouts. We have a bunch of close below the high days. We've got, this is a hold. They're stretched out. You can see it. We got a high volume day, but I don't see colors. This is the closest one I got. This means an amber color means there's 2 breakout signals that happen that day. On this particular day, it was a hold and a close higher gap. Here's one that's 2 that shows it's a 55-day and where'd it go? 55-day and a 20-day is what it showed up as. Hold and a close higher gap. Where's the other one at? It's right here. So it's a 55-day and a 20-day hold. There's one more color beyond this. It's a purple color or a magenta color. That means that we'd had 3 or more breakout symbols that happened on the same day. So that could have been a 55, a 20, a closed higher gap, or another hold. And in this particular case, if it's green, it means we only had one indication for that breakout. The close below the high day has a red background because that is a down day. There's a guaranteed down day for that. But the close higher gap is going to be bullish. The 55 and 20-day gaps are going to be they're bullish, and the hold is bullish. So in a nutshell, those are all of the types of indications that I look for. So normally what I would do is I would look down the weighted gain factor list and see what showed up. I would look over here, my breakouts, to see if I can find multiple breakout indications that happen on that day. If I see something over here that says, hey, we've got a lot of black characters in the list, then I would go, oh, what's happening with those things? I would ideally like to not be seeing a bunch of P5s and P4s. I'd like to see P2s and P3s, and preferably not many P1s. So, and in this particular case, we don't see any P1s because the scan took care of it. There's no P1s out here. So, and hopefully, I'd like to find a positive year-to-date growth for me. So, in a nutshell, that's those are the kinds of indications that the watch list has to offer. There's a lot of them, and after a while, it's pretty clean to be able to do a quick sort and be able to pick from stocks that are maybe the top 10, and they're there. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Bye.